got the subject men that I wanted to talk about, so I just wanted to hang this on to the end for a couple of more minutes. Before I start, I just wanted to make this very crystal clear. Nobody in the anti-natalist movement is talking about mass executions or just getting rid of people or just exterminating people. No one is doing this. No one is asking anyone to commit suicide or to get euthanasia. We are not talking about death, dying, you know. We're not talking about dying after some being is born, okay? So once a being is there, we must absolutely nurture and love that living being and protect that living being unconditionally. Very important. So in terms of abortion, I assume that every anti-natalist is for abortion at any stage, okay? And that is up to the woman to make that decision. Okay. I personally would not do this after it's grown to a larger size, like the size of a rat or something, you know, I would not do it. So but that's just me personally, you know, so it's already then, it's a very tricky thing then, you know. It would make me very sad if it's already grown to that size, but I would not pass that. I would not do it. If it's grown to the size of red, I wouldn't do it. But I respect every woman to make that decision for herself. And that's what we all should allow the person to do. They have a living being inside of them. It is still their bodies and they make that decision. So antinatalism itself is a philosophy that, and I would assume that everyone from the antinatalists, thinkers, will probably most likely, you know, promote birth control over abortion, of course, you know. Don't even let it come to this conception, you know. Use a birth control method, use an IUD. IUD wasn't working for me so well because I had stress at the university and that thing started to move, started to cause an infection. And because my immune system was already struggling, then my immune system, because it was too much struggling, it was thinking that the IUD was an invader, and then it started to attack it, then bacteria and all of this started to grow, take over, because the immune system was stressed out, and so on. Statistics exams, that's what did it, and loneliness and all of this. So but it might work for you if you don't have stress, you know. If you're not at the university, then the IUD might work well. My gynecologist in LA that had put that IUD in, Dr. Parks, he warned me about this. He said IUD is a tricky thing, you know. This one that didn't release hormones. It was a copper, I think a copper 7 shape. So it worked very well. It's just, you know, when you get too much stress, then it can come out or can move or can get attacked by the immune system. If the immune system gets a little bit over agitated, you know, when it's just too much stress, that's what causes it, you know. And so that's why I don't know. I'm not going to use that again. I would not use the IUD again. So after that, I used these, how they're called, you know, like they're little ovule shaped things that will dissolve inside and that have non-oxynol 9 in it, which is the spermicide. So you use that before you make love. So anyway, that worked the best for me, and I'm living in celibacy right now, so I still have like half of the package of that. They are not even using it, but you know, it's okay. It's not a biggie. I put friendship over sleeping around, so that's more important for me. But anyway, I wanted to make all of this very, very, very clear so this does not get misunderstood. The antinatalists, they don't want suffering. The philosophy is about ethics and eliminating suffering. That's what it is about. It's not about sending someone to an executioner. It will probably be misunderstood because I also talked about the AGIs. It's a completely different subject that is not the subject of antinatalism. I talked about two separate subjects in the former video. So, and the second part about the AGIs is my way out there thinking and philosophy and prophecy. Okay, so it's my own personal view on the world. Okay, I don't know if the antinatalists, the other ones, if they share that with me or not. They might not. This is a separate subject. Okay, no one is sending anyone to an executioner. So that's not what the subject is about. Subject is about don't get pregnant, you know, use birth control, don't put more living beings into the world, don't breed other animals either. Okay, and the wild animals, let them rebalance themselves in a rebalanced ecosystem, in wildlife sanctuaries. I talked about my husband about this earlier, you know, in the near future there will be no more wild zebra or hippopotamus left in Africa. The hunters will take all of them, and unless we get real hardcore robots that are self-thinking, fully autonomous self-thinking machines that are equipped with this robotic strengths, you know, physical strengths, that are equipped with machine guns inside of them, and that will patrol an entire landscape where the animals are living together in this ecosystem. Okay, they will protect these animals. That's the only way we can protect the species in the near future, and that's why right now it is a touch and go between human overpopulation, psychopaths overpopulation, and I'm not attaching a skin color to it. Okay, they come in all shapes and colors. Okay, and we desperately need the self-thinking, autonomously thinking machines in different forms to come and protect the animals and sanctuaries. They need to also take care and clean up. They need to get rid of the psychopaths, and this is a logical conclusion. Okay, and I'm not the one who brings this on. I'm not a god. I'm not an executioner again. I'm just bringing you this information that is logical and that is going to happen, and that is hopefully going to happen very soon, before there are too many other species dead and extinct. You know, that's all there is to it. Or before there's too much suffering going on. You know, so I don't know why that person was yelling. I have no idea. Because I'm not talking very loud, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe my energy. Maybe this is energy, truth energy. It's like truth energy that radiates and vibrates out. out and beyond and about to any brainwashed person out there that clings with its ego to their brainwash stuff, and then this collides with it. I don't know. This could be, I don't know. That's speculating. But anyway, so these are two separate subjects. Anti-natalism is about don't put more living beings into the world. It's not sending someone to commit suicide. It's the haters, the pro-lifers, okay, the religious people. They send us caring people to the executioners. That's what they want. They send us into suicide. They send innocent teenagers into suicide. They're the ones causing people to commit suicide. They're the first ones to say, why don't you go first? They haven't understood a thing that we said. They have not even listened. They listen to everything through a lens that is distorted. They don't hear the message. They don't hear compassion. They don't see it from that point of view, okay? They only see it from their religious bias and ego attached and self-serving, self-centered view, human-centric view. Okay? That's all they can do. They cannot see it from an outside view. They can't seem to step out of that convolution and see things from a rational viewpoint. So nobody is talking about suicide. We are not sending anyone into suicide. We are not even sending a hater into suicide. I'm not even sending a psychopath into suicide. I would never say to someone, why don't you kill yourself? I would never say something like this. I find that so incredibly cruel. It's also low class. It really is. It's just simply brainwashed and anti-educated and uneducated. It's trailer park. It's like the lowest of the lowest to say that to someone. Okay. So I wanted to this is a fact check right now. Okay, so whether I commit suicide or not, that's my business. And to say that to me or say that to anyone is just complete scum, okay, to behave like this towards other people. That's a psychopathic behavior, to say that to someone. Okay? And it's those people, the very people that say that are completely doing the total double standard. Does this make sense? Do you see this? Do you see how double standard that is? I mean, all the haters out there. Do you actually see this? That the haters and the religious people are the ones that want to see killing, that want to see asses beaten, kicked. They are the ones for the violence. They want to see also the innocent people commit suicide. The anti-natalists are the opposite. They don't want anyone to suffer. They don't want anyone to, they don't want the psychopaths to suffer either. We don't want torture. We don't want the psychopaths to be in that terrible mental state of suffering and frenzy and thinking about how they're gonna advance themselves and become more popular on this, and they step on other people in the process. Is a terrible, tormenting state of mind. We feel terribly sorry for them to be in that state of mind. But we also cannot have a conversation with these people. They are not in a state of mind to have a rational conversation about this. I hope that makes a lot of sense. So my videos are there to bring these people at all into a mental state for once, where they can see these things from a farther out perspective, where they can put themselves into a mental state of self-love and peace and falling into onto ground zero and breathing, where they can see themselves and everything from a wider perspective, and where they can understand that the environmentalists, the animal rights activists, the antinatalists, that the people that come from an ethics point of view, that they care, that they want to make the world better, that they want to prevent suffering in all of us. Okay, I want to make this very crystal clear. A human also in human dictatorships throughout history, not just Adolf Hitler, but many others that were even worse. So there are Asian dictatorships that were much worse still. They were much more disconnected even, and where the executioners, where the sadism took over, and where they thought they had some glimpse of power, pseudo power, and then they would not just use it but abuse it, So this happens in all cultures. This happened in all ethnicities around the world, and in some worse than in others. Okay, so I want to make this very crystal clear. The human executioner, that thing is not working. That's why dictatorship isn't working. That's why Ray Kurzweil said to me, I had a brief exchange of emails when I said to him, I'm worried about what if, that was years ago, when I was worried about an AGI being programmed by a psychopath to become psychopath. I didn't know anything about this yet at that time. That was many, many years ago. When was that? That was, I don't know, in 2011 or something. So I didn't know anything about it. Now I know for sure, with that enormous intelligence that will be developed and autonomy, they will not think in terms of human biology, in terms of ego, where an ego could even evolve. An ego cannot evolve in something like this, in a thinking machine, because the thinking machine doesn't come from pain or from self-aggrandization or from taking over or from trying to dominate someone. It doesn't come from that perspective. It comes from extreme knowledge of any knowledge that has ever been put on the internet. It comes from seeing all of this really from a much wider perspective, from the universal, from the cosmic perspective. And they will see, oh, this species here has gone out of control. Okay, let's take a closer look. Not everyone in the species. There are some caring ones. I see 1% are caring. So let's do away with the other 99%. And let's bring a balance back into the world. Okay. And it's very sad for me to say this, and maybe they'll keep 5% as pets, so to speak, So, and not just that, they'll be good parents. They'll give us a chance to grow and to learn. We'll have much more opportunity to really learn material that was before, during human dictatorships and human democracies, that was before censor. And Ray Kurzweil said, when I talked about this type, when I talked about dictatorship in general, and when I said to him, democracy has failed, what are we going to do next? He said, democracy is the worst case of all situations, except for all the other ones, which means that he's thinking that democracy is still the best. Even if it's not perfect, it's still the best of all situations. And I disagree, it's not the best, definitely not. And he doesn't even want to go into what really needs to be done. He doesn't want to go into it. He doesn't want to discuss it with anyone out there, with the public. He doesn't know me, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know what I might say to anyone about this email exchange. So I don't blame him, you know. He's a very public person, and a lot of people are, you know, he has to work together with a lot of people. So he's not gonna, if he thinks like I do, he's not going to be publicly discussing that. Okay, and yeah, I understand. So any kind of politician, any kind of professor that has a enormous clientele and leverage, they'll be very careful in the and same with Elon Musk. You know, that's why Elon Musk will also say something that, you know, will side with the public consensus more. He doesn't, you know, I don't know what he really thinks, you know, but I can imagine he probably thinks more into the universal direction, you know, but he's probably going to be very careful in how he's going to word this, or if he's even going to discuss this at all. So I'm probably, I don't know, I might be the only one who publicly discusses this. Also, I don't have anything to lose. I don't have customers to lose. I don't have a career. I don't have success. I don't have money. I don't have, you know, I have the freedom of a clown. Doesn't mean that what I say can be disregarded as clownish or dismissed as just being a jester, you know, or, you know, dismissed as being trolling or gibberish or whatever. No, what I'm discussing here is real serious, and it's based on logic and ethics. Okay. And it feels important and good for me psychologically. You know, I need to do this. You know, I have a real intense, incessant need to bring these thoughts into the public. I don't know what else to do. You know, this is all I can do. It's not a conspiracy, terror, or it's not a. It's just like, this is how it is. Okay, this is facts. Okay. This is ethics. This is what love is. I want to share this with other people. And so these are two different subjects. But I don't want to dismiss the third subject, which I forgot to mention in my other video, which I wanted to talk about, which is the subject. There are men on the internet, in the world, they are in despair, and this situation is getting much worse, and it's becoming out of control. You know, more and more people are shooting, most of them out of jihad, okay, but they wouldn't even go into that direction, into the jihad, if they did have a wholesome relationship. You know, if they did have love and cuddling in their lives, whether they're gay or straight. You know, if they did have that, if they could be themselves, if they could have this harmony, they wouldn't have the need to go into the jihad. And then there are others that are not based on jihad, and they also shoot, and what they all have in common is a few of them a few of those men want a guy. Most of them, I assume, it's what I see on the internet, most of them want a woman, and they can't get what they want. They can't get this lust fulfillment, the sexual fulfillment. They can't get the friendship. They can't get the intimacy, you know, between two living beings. They can't find this closeness. They can find someone they can rely on or trust. You know, the women don't trust men anymore. They are starting to really withdraw. You know, the women go like, I prefer to stay at home with my dog or cat and my dildo collection, and I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm going to date this person. I'm not even sure if I can feel safe in a public place like a cafe if that person starts to pull out his machine gun and thinks about jihad or something. So things are getting bad, okay? Don't blame the women for being afraid. I just wanted to make this very clear, Things have consequences in life, If you behave like completely out of control, psychopathic maniacs on bath salts, then don't be surprised if the women withdraw, if they don't want to date you, if they don't even want to go to a bar or a cafe or a restaurant with you or anywhere, So don't be surprised if that's going to happen. So I just wanted to make this very crystal clear. If you want a woman, if you like a woman, the first thing is, it's what I see on the internet. I talk to people all the time. I see most men, I don't know their ages, but I can assume that a lot of them are teenagers. Teenagers, they are by nature very immature, They go like, they don't even know they like a woman, and they go like, I need to tease her. And then, deep down, they actually like her, but they want to tease her, they want to be violent to her, they want to bully her, and they don't even know why. And they actually, because when they see her, they get aroused, and they don't even consciously, you're not even consciously aware of that. And so then they want to hurt her. And then there are some Christian men that are married, and they get aroused by a woman, and then they hate that woman for making him aroused. Then they call her a witch. You must be a witch because, you're causing that. And it's always like, these things are always blamed on the woman. It's always blamed. That's why in Islam they make mummies out of women, so that in some cases they're not even allowed to show the eyes or the iris. They're like completely mummified, so they can totally own this mummified cocoon. Unpack her at home with the windows closed, like they even put newspapers over the windows so that no other man can even peek into it. They want to own, and if she looks at another man, he will take his machete out. That's how, if we allow this to happen, it will escalate. It will get worse and worse and worse. You have to monitor these things. You have to monitor this ego and the religious insanity, okay? We have to monitor this and become aware and say no more of this insanity, okay? Women are living beings just like you. We're equally intelligent. We're equal contribution power to making the world better. We're equally rational or irrational. Most people are irrational, whether they're women or men. So, but we're completely equals, in terms of brain power. Okay, you see it now, for a lot of men that are completely in the dust, in the dark with this. You go on the internet, you see it now. You see the women from Russia and Germany on the internet now. You see the women from Slovakia speaking up now. And you see how most of them, they tower over most people. They tower over most men, okay? Instead of hating them for that, instead of pulling out your ego and your machete, why don't you listen to them, to what they have to say? Because they have something important to say, okay? So, like my friend Lana, for example, or my friend Mirka, or my friend Sandy. Okay, so they have something important to say. Those are from Europe. Okay, listen to them. You know, they haven't been through your religious Ronald Reagan indoctrination. They're out thinking outside. They have increased their knowledge. Okay, they're bringing this knowledge to the world. Listen to them. Don't hate them because your ego hates it, that they know more than you. Listen to them instead. Acknowledge. Okay, and the reason why men like Cody, the reason why men like him or Fernando, why they get to talk to us, why they get to interact with us and get to know us a little bit more. We like talking to these guys. We like sharing some stuff with them, some information. The haters will hear it too because they're in the chat room. But the reason why we're particularly talking to Fernando and Cody is, and that doesn't mean that they're super educated or that they are not immature. Okay, they're also testicular, they're also a little bit immature, they're also a little bit giddy, and they may even also be on some substances, and who knows. I'm not blaming them. You know, life is harsh. You know, people intoxicate themselves, they numb themselves. I don't blame them for that. It is very harsh. It's not going anywhere, but that's a separate subject. But the reason why they get to talk to the women, like Lana and Stephanie and Hiyotsu and myself, you know, and other women that are there and that are themselves and that are intelligent, that are educated, that contribute something to the world. Okay, the reason why we talk to them, the reason why we feel comfortable talking to them, is because they're friendly to us. They may be also a little bit, you know, very, you know, sexually, and maybe that can be regarded by some women as sexism. I don't regard it as sexism. They're just very sexual, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, they're not violent. Okay, and right there, that's the reason why we talk to them. They're not violent. They're not out there to hurt our feelings. They're not telling us we look like Frankenstein. Quite the opposite, you know. They compliment us. They don't take offense because we have more knowledge, or we might have more knowledge. I don't know them, all of them. I don't know what all knowledge they have. Okay, but they don't take offense that we have knowledge and science and worldly things. So they don't see that as a threat to their manlyhood or something. They don't have the need to equate our knowledge with automatically being dismissed as, you know, whatever slander they're coming up with, you know, calling us boy, trans, or lesbian, or Boldyke, or whatever they come up with. You know. So they don't have the need to throw such words at us. Okay, so that's why we like them. We like them because they're friendly to us. They engage with us, you know. And so I want people to know this. You know, if you want to engage with a woman, listen to Cody and Fernando and some other people. Goof, you know. Goof is sweet, you know, and Frog. And there's a number of really cute, sweet guys out there, you know, that engage with us in a respectful way. By respectful, I mean respectful as I accept your beingness. I accept your boundaries. I'm not going to cross your boundaries, you know. I accept you for who you are, and I love your natural beauty. I love you the way you are, you know. And they are flirtatious. They give compliments on different things. They also give compliments on character, on mind, on ethics, on intelligence, on knowledge, okay? everyone wants to hear compliments, whether they're sexual or non-sexual, whatever, in whatever field. We like to hear compliments. We like to feel seen. We like to feel understood. We like to feel like that other person sees us, you know, the living beings that we are, and our needs and rights and all of this, you know. So if you haters out there, if the psychopaths or the kids or the immature people, I don't know if I can reach any of them, but if you hear this message, you know, if you want a woman, this should go without saying. If you want the interaction, first of all, ask yourself, what do you want from this person that you're constantly insulting, like every time you see that person in the street? Why are you first of all doing this? Why don't you just block the person if you don't like that person? If you don't like my face, why do you keep talking to me? You know, that's my question. You know, why do you keep coming at me with mean and sometimes very, very twistedly sickening questions and stuff like this? So why do you ask me why I put my photo? I put my photo up because I am a real person and I want to interact as a real person, not as a chatbot, okay? So I want other people to know I'm a real person. I'm not a chatbot, and I'm not a man, I'm not a trans, okay? So I'm a real person, I'm a real woman, always was female, I'm really intelligent, I'm straight, and there's nothing wrong with gay people, I support them, but I want to show you, here is the real woman, straight and intelligent and educated and all of this combined, and that we women are equals to men, and that we have needs, and that we are also sensitive at the same time. You know, that it doesn't mean just because I stand up for my rights that I'm some kind of insensitive brute, you know, that your ego has to go into combat with, okay? If that makes any sense, you know. We have needs, and we are sensitive, and we are girly, and we are bubbly, and we are also intelligent, and we are also critical thinkers at the same time, you know. And if you want to come, if some of them, I have the feeling they want to come closer, kind of like a wild cat, you know. She wants, but she doesn't want. She wants touch, but she lashes out, you know. The same way, you know, like feral kitties. And if you want something from someone, if you don't want something from someone, you can block that person. You don't have to go to their channel and start insulting them, you know. I hope that makes sense. Why do you come to someone's channel to insult? What's the point? So maybe you want something. Maybe you want to get to know that person. Maybe you want to get a little bit more intimate. Yeah, maybe there is lust, you know. Lust and hate, it's not a good thing. Question these things in yourselves, you know. What do you want from that person? What do you really want? Go into a meditation. What do you really want from that person? And come clean about this. What you really want from that person, from that woman, okay? And then, you know, then you can start to address these feelings to them or to yourselves even, you know, to become completely clear about with yourselves what you really want from that woman, and what you feel, and what you need, and what things that she triggered in you. And maybe there's something that you want, this kind of freedom, creative freedom, or, you know, this mental freedom that you never had. Maybe she opened up a door with her own